Hi, my name's Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes, where today I'm going to take a look at a game that's been out for quite some time, and that game is Arkham Horror, the card game, a rather fantastic 1 to 4 player game. Now, I had the original release of the game way back when was this, 2016 I believe, something like that. Yes, way back in 2016, and I fell in love with the game straight away and bought practically everything for the game over the years. Back a few years ago, Fantasy Flight Games released a new version, a revised version of the core box set. So this is the first game that you would buy if you were getting into Arkham Horror, the card game now. And this came out in 2021. So what I thought is, meaning as I've just picked up a copy of this as I plan to start going through all the campaigns in order, and that's going to be some task, I thought it'd be a rather nice idea to take a look at what you get in this revised edition of Arkham Horror the card game, and also to compare it with the original release. So, without any further ado, let's have a look at what we get. Okay, let's take a look at what we get in Arkham Horror, the card game. And this is the revised edition. So we've got a learn to play book, a rules reference book, and the campaign guide for the game included, and that is Night of the Zealot. So let's take a look at the Learn to Play book. Here we have all about using the book and all the components in the game. We have some fundamental concepts of the game. And then we have our first game setup, which is detailed very nicely there for us to follow when we set up a game. This is the setup for the scenario that you will play. And then this is an example of a 2-player game that's been set up. And here we have the round sequence. So we have the investigation phase. We have draw, resource, activate, play, move, investigate, and engage. And we have evade and fight. Then we have the enemy phase, the upkeep phase, and then the mythos phase. And this tells us how we deal with skills and skill tests. This is about deck customizations. And then we have the starter decks that are included in the game. So there's 5 characters included in the game. And right on the back there, you have a very, very handy player aid that you can keep and refer to as you play the game. Now, the rules reference is just as the title suggests. It's a glossary of all the rules. Now, you do not need to refer to this to learn and play the game. However, if something comes up during play, you can look up the specific rule in this glossary, and it's all in alphabetical order. And then towards the back, we have some appendices and some flowcharts, and we have the detailed framework of the various phases there: the mythos phase, investigation phase, enemy phase, upkeep phase. Skill tests and timing, all about setting up the game. And then the anatomy of the cards that you will be using in the game. And then a wonderful index right on the back of the rules reference book. Now, I won't show anything from the campaign, but this is a little booklet that you're going to follow, and you'll be setting up your campaign and playing through the game. Now, just as a reference, these are the original booklets that were in the first game. As you can see, these are now in these larger box format, where the original game was in a smaller box. Now, this seems pretty much identical. They are both 8 pages each. The rules reference looks pretty much the same, and they're both 32 pages each. However, the Learn to Play book has been completely refreshed by the looks of it, because this original book was 16 pages long, and now this book is 24 pages long. So I think they've just, from what I can gather, let's have a little look. That's pretty much the same. Yeah, I think they've gone into more detail to help you get into the first game. So that's your rules booklet. Now we have some punch boards. So there we have some punch boards with all the game's tokens. And then we have the game box here. Now, this has plenty of space for storing any additional cards you get for the game, or if you're going to sleeve your game, you've got plenty of space to store there. You have a little pack of character cards, the 5 characters that you can play in the game, and they have a coloured side. And once you've done your actions, you flip it over to the black and white side to indicate that you've finished your turn. We have a lovely chaos token bag. So that's nice. And then we come to the cards themselves. So let's have a look here. So these are all the characters' decks. And I believe each one of these now comes pre-set up, so you can literally choose a character and play straight away. So there we go, there's our 5 characters. And then we have the rest of the game cards. So we've got a ton of cards that we can use to upgrade our characters. And we have the campaign specific cards here for each of the 3 scenarios in the game Night of the Zealot that is included with the game. So plenty of storage space there, that's nice. And that's what you get in a game of Arkham Horror, the card game revised core box edition. Okay, so when we unboxed the game, we could see that the Learn to Play rulebook had been expanded upon. Now, these changes can be seen on the board game box itself, where the illustration seems to have been redrawn. It's the same pose, but as you can see, there's like a sheriff's badge or police badge on one of the main characters there, and it just seems to have been refreshed. And the same applies to the cards themselves. Some of the cards remain the same, but as you can see here, the first aid card has been completely redrawn but remains identical in use. And here we can see Skids O'Toole on the back cover of the original game, and this is his card from the new game. So as you can see, some of the artwork has been redone, particularly around the characters, and some artwork has been refreshed for some of the other cards as well. Now, talking about the cards, the first thing I noticed when I opened up the revised core set was that the cards felt slightly smaller to me. So I dug out some of the older versions of the game, and I could see that cards in the revised sets and new sets of the game, they are slightly smaller than the original cards. Now this wouldn't be an issue if you're sleeving the cards, and like I say, as you can see from these pictures, it is very small, but they are slightly smaller than the original version. And so let's compare the game contents. Well, there's one extra scenario card included, and compared to the original player cards there, they were 119 in the original version of the game, and in the revised pack there's 245 player cards. We've got 61 resource tokens instead of 30. We've got the same 44 chaos tokens. We've got 27 horror tokens compared to 18, and 40 damage tokens compared to 27 damage tokens. And additionally, we've got 57 clue or doom tokens compared to the 30 clue or doom tokens. So what this does is it literally gives you all the cards that you need to create all 5 investigators, whereas with the original version of the game you had to buy 2 copies of the core set if you wanted to make up all 5 unique investigators. If you're playing with 1 or 2 players, I did not feel this was really an issue, because you could just build up whatever character you wanted to play and have at it. But with the revised core set, it gives you that flexibility and also gives you all the extra tokens that you may need, especially if playing with up to 4 players. There you go, Arkham Horror, the card game. This certainly is one of my most favourite games, I must admit. I really like to play this either solo or with 2 players. I've never played it with 3 or 4 players, I don't think. I think I would prefer this at the 1 to 2 player count, if I'm quite honest. But this revised core set gives you enough material so that you can play straight out of the box with up to 4 players. With the original edition, you were limited a bit there because of the number of cards provided. You would have had to have bought a second core box back in the day to be able to have done that, especially if you're looking at some sort of like deck creation, deck building, which you can do in this game. Now, I talked a little bit about the slight difference in the card sizes of the revised and indeed the new versions now of Arkham Horror, the card game, going forward. The cards are just ever so slightly thinner than the original release ones. Now, that's not going to be a problem at all if you were just getting into Arkham Horror, or indeed if you've got into it from this revised core set, because everything that's been released now is going to be matching the same size. But it's just something to be aware of if you already own some of the older games like I do. But as I said when we were looking through it, if you sleeve your cards, it really isn't a problem at all. And it is just a very tiny difference. So there you have it. That's Arkham Horror, the card game. An absolutely superb game system that is really interesting and really fun and exciting to play. So if you've not taken a look at this game, I really think perhaps you should do. It is a really wonderful game. A big Fun with Boxes thumbs up for this one. Well, I do hope you enjoyed taking a look at this with me. If you did, please consider hitting the old like button, and also please hit that subscribe button if you would be so kind, because that would really help to grow the channel. And in the meantime, as always, thanks so much for watching. Please do take care, and bye for now.